Whoa, it is a beautiful day in Milwaukee. Good morning, Milwaukee. It's Brian on WNOV 860 AM with Via Voice Radio through Wisconsin Voices. I want to say good morning to my beautiful co-workers. They up in here getting it in with me.
What's up?
What's going on, Joe? How you feeling?
Feeling wonderful, man. You can't be sad with this weather out there, especially in late February in Wisconsin.
Tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. To me tomorrow.
Right. You see how you feeling, right?
But the weekend's supposed to look nice too.
So I did hear that.
Bounce back.
That vitamin D is in the air. The sun is upon us, y'all. Please get out there and soak this in. It'll keep you feeling so great and in a mood that will have you getting things done today. If you really need to get out there, get to prepping or getting rid of some of that spring cleaning in the garage, go ahead. If you got some stuff you want to donate to any community organizations, clothes. A lot of organizations do need items, hygiene, clothing, resume or interview clothing, excuse me. So if you got anything that you want to get done today, it'd be a perfect day to do it before we get the slushy slush. Latoya, how you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Beautiful day, like you said, beautiful day.
Yeah.
But wait for tomorrow. This is Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay. So
don't
today,
put your coat up yet, though.
No, do not put your coat up. We know that. Yeah. Not till at least mid-April. So today we have a pretty cool laid back show. I always like to make sure that we have some content, and we want to get started with a few things. Just as far as our guest today, we'll have Mr. Brandon Triggs from HBK, helping kids. Did I say it right? Did I say the acronym right? HKBT. Helping kids better themselves. I'm sorry.
Basketball company. Hey, listen, took me a few years. I always just said it. The acronym wasn't working.
I like it though. I like it. It flowed too, the way he put it together. So we got him and Mr. Keon Malone Jackson and Brandon work well together, and I like that dynamic duo they put together. I've been trying to, get some of that energy that they got going on, because the community is really in support of them, and I definitely appreciate what they do together and how smooth it flows. You got personalities that are strong, but you got guys that get things done. So it's not just folks out there just yelling at people and they ain't putting them to work. I can say, like, man, look, they actually out there doing it, putting in the work. And I'll say it again, like I said at the gala, because Keon might have missed a little bit of it. You're putting in that work, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that recognition gonna come, and it'll be natural and it'll be genuine from the people that's observing it. So again, thank y'all for that. Outside of that, I think
we'll come on through this summer. Wait till we get this summer. We got some work for you this summer.
Oh no, don't forget. I didn't forget last summer too. I had fun last summer.
We didn't have. I'm talking about we working on getting. We had to skip a summer.
Okay.
Well, COVID shut us down.
Oh, so it was something different than last year.
The first 3 summers were or 2 was the summer programming.
Okay.
We actually programmed the park from 8 a.m. to 12 noon with basketball camps. Some Alfonso Watkins would come do the boot camp, physical fitness boot
Alfonso,
camp.
I used to work with Alfonso back in the day.
we had educators in the neighborhood doing tutoring,
I said Alfonso,
arts and crafts, and then it just became beyond our programming, because we just say, okay, we'll give the park back to the community at 12.
Okay.
But by 4 or 5, folks wanted to be involved again. Mm-hmm. So it would start up again like 4 in the afternoon, 4 or 5, and then they go to 8. And a lot of activity. We had the dojos from the area. We got 2 dojos, martial arts dojos. Kempo Goju has been there 50 plus years. And the other brother who's inside of, I can't think of his name right off the hand, who's inside of St. Mark AME Church. And the Lions of Judah will be there to help us out, period. So they came out and did some demonstrations. So hopefully we can get it back together, because we had the summer meals program from Heart Love Place, breakfast and lunch. So yeah, we get you out there this summer, bro.
Oh, I know. I already know. I already know.
Out there with you with the catfish.
Oh, you talking about that? And then we try to do like 2 or 3 events like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, that was a interesting day because I didn't even get to experience because I think we had something else going on. I had to leave and go do something else. I don't remember getting a full plate that day. I was a little
Oh,
disappointed.
well, think about it. The neighborhood family fellowships, things like that, the major events, either the family fellowships or the family reunion, uh, which we brought the family.
That was the family reunion.
We brought that
Yeah.
from the block. We would have that inside the neighborhood on the block, but we brought it to the park because it's really neighborhood. My family, my block wanted to have the block reunion, so we did that for like 4 years. But we brought it back to the neighborhood, which is the old village that my parents them grew in before the blocks got broken up by you know what. So those are always amazing. This is the first year that the neighborhood literally bought into it. But we had Farina and Brooks and team with Dream Team United. They did an event with us, a family fellowship, a neighborhood family fellowship, about a month before that. So by the time we got to the reunion, Keon, do you need any help? And the residents actually, came in, and I said, this is not a Keon event. I've been fighting this battle for 6 years. This is not a Keon event. This is our event.
Right.
So what we need to do is, yes, can you cook? What do you want to do? We need you to act like this is yours and host the people that show up. And that's the feel. That's what the mission and the vision
that
always
was the vibe. That was the vibe.
So those are always great to have 300-400 people come back to the neighborhood with the neighborhood.
Yeah. Mixing it in. Yeah.
Here come Brandon.
Brandon, yeah, we got Brandon. Okay, cool. Yeah, we definitely have to bring Brandon in. So yeah, we got a few topics and things to go into before we get to our first guest, which is Brandon coming in to let us know about what he has going on. All right, he gonna slide in. Come on through, my brother. Okay,
He's on down the
yeah.
road.
All right. So after we finish up with a few topics, we'll definitely make sure we get to Brandon. So get started, Joe. Got any policy updates or anything we need to know that's going on?
Just what we've been pushing, and we're going to continue to push through the month of March, is early voting, which starts March 19th. It's going to go through the 30th. Get out there, register, vote early. Your vote counts and it matters. These are some local elections that, like we say so many times, that these national elections get so much attention and we put so much focus on them, but it's those local elections that actually really impact you, your family, your neighborhood, your community. So get out there, vote. March 19th through the 30th. We'll have more information here in maybe next week or the following week about those locations and where you can vote, where you can register, and get out there and vote early.
All right, thank you. So got any information on where they can get any voting locations or what is going on? What's the websites we got for them, Joe?
Oh yeah, the website
Or the website.
myvote.wi.gov. That's going to have all your information about voting locations and all kinds of information about
your
voting.
polling locations,
all that good stuff. So yeah, definitely visit that website. That's myvote.wi.gov.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll just with this weather being warm and it's so many things going on in the community. Before I highlight the Black excellence or that I want to spot today, I gotta also shout out Latoya before I get into that. But I just want to talk about some of the just the recklessness and how we just got to be mindful. And if you're talking to your nieces, nephews, grandparents, or grandkids, anybody in the community that you have a hand on, if you're mentoring, etc., can you, if you're a grown adult, just run around the city, one, be cautious of the driving and always be a defensive driver, which I learned at a young age at South, what was that? What's the school in the South Side, South Milwaukee? What's the big South Division? I took my driver's ed in the old driver's ed room way back in 2002, 2003. Please be a defensive driver. Be aware of that, and also just be mindful of the people that are going to be recklessly driving. We had a guy in the community last night, and I just want to spotlight this individual because he worked in the community at a gumbo truck that everybody see across the city. And if you've been on East Capitol, I was just on East Capitol when we were doing the truck the other day with the food pantry, Gumbo Valley. It's a young man named Andre Richards, and we want to shout him out. And if it's anything that's going on that we can do to just put him, a little attention on him, maybe when his donations start kicking in, people will recognize the name and start supporting. But he worked to create a food truck business called Gumbo Valley. He usually be parked off of East Capitol off of Houghton. And yesterday, it looks like, it took him 14 months to build this truck. So that's why it's such a big deal. Anybody that takes time, anybody that's built anything from scratch, you understand, anything with your hands, anything that you worked on. That's your craft, and you taking a lot of pride. That's your baby, like we was talking about with people with their organizations last week. He was working on his truck, putting some gumbo together, and looks like a woman uh, rear-ended his gumbo truck last night, or his gumbo food truck, and pretty much dismantled the whole thing. Did y'all see
Oh
this?
wow,
see it.
no.
Yeah, you seen the truck before, haven't
I've
you?
seen it.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
ate,
it, yeah.
I
Yeah.
eat his gumbo.
Yeah.
It's off the
It's,
chain.
yeah, it's gone.
It's good.
Somebody, a young
Wow.
and what we looks like is Market Police arrested a 28-year-old woman who rear-ended Mr. Mr. Andre Richards
What was wrong with her? Because it's parked off to the side.
on suspicion of operating while intoxicated.
Wow.
Not only being reckless, and it wasn't even late. When I seen this, I seen people talking about it. I seen it around. Was it 6:45? Did you see this yesterday, B? Yeah. Just the way I felt it this morning, seeing him really speak on it on the
Actually,
news.
when we be on here, sometimes you see
You
the
see him
truck
slide
come
past.
down.
You're right.
Right,
So you
right.
know this man is serious about his business. And anybody that has ever been to his truck, I'm sure you understand and worked hard to have the food business. You understand how hard it is not only building, your not quote unquote brick and
From the
mortar,
ground
but
up.
from the ground up, but also building in customers. It's hard getting people to come to try your new food, especially in Milwaukee. So
Mhm.
Milwaukee got this little code. If we found out one little thing was off one time, it'd spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
But and it could be just one day where the ingredients was off. But this guy actually had a following. You said you didn't been there, and I always would
Yeah.
see it. I used to see him when we was doing our campaign back in when we was doing our voter project. I would see him, and we was across the city on East Capitol. And sometimes he'd be up the street off of 76 randomly, but most likely it was East Capitol when I
I
see him.
see him at East Capitol.
East Capitol,
all the
yeah.
time.
It might have been that waffle truck I was seeing. I know it was like red. That one day that waffle truck was over there.
Because his is like
Saved a lot.
orange and
Yeah, it's
green.
orange and green. Yeah, okay, that's the waffle
Yeah.
truck. But yeah, okay. Yeah, the chicken and waffles. Shout out to the chicken and waffles too. We love chicken and waffles.
Mhm.
So I just want to bring that up. Talking about the reckless driving. I see that the Common Council has back in January they had passed something about a new resolution to collect metrics determining the effectiveness of the reckless driving program. So I guess this is new way of just pretty much focusing on the reckless driving. I just want to highlight and I want everybody just to be aware.
Slow down.
Yeah, just slowing down. If they're looking at different ways to see if they're catching the metrics right, that means that they don't know if the reckless driving is worse or better than what we actually say. I'm thinking is worse because I'm seeing not only the young adults doing this, I'm seeing the older adults and some people who I know don't live in our community driving through our community reckless as well. I've seen some people that look like they might have came from up north somewhere on the weekend flying through our community. So yeah, we just got to be cautious. We all got family out here.
18-wheelers flying
through. Yeah.
Hey, slow down.
Yeah, I was
boy.
looking at a couple pickup trucks that was looking a little, I can't really say, what I really want to say, but just say the average pickup truck that you don't see floating through the city, flying up Fond du Lac one day. And I'm like, yeah, look like he's trying to hit back on that highway a little bit too quick. But that's another area that Fond du Lac and Hampton is another tough one outside of where we at right now between, Atkinson, Capitol, and Titonia.
Well, Brian, we
Yes, sir.
kind of touched on this a little bit yesterday. We
Mhm.
were talking about, the we before me, looking towards the community instead of being so selfish sometimes. And when we go out there, we get behind the wheel, we're intoxicated. We take out a food truck like that.
Yeah.
That's a staple in our community. That's
Yeah.
a staple in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
That puts continuity into our neighborhoods, a sense of place.
Mhm.
So now we're not going to have that food truck in our neighborhood now because someone was selfish and made a selfish decision. So it's about thinking about the community, about the whole picture when we go out and we do these things and taking care of our communities.
Yeah, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a
point.
great point.
Yeah.
A great point because even the way he was talking, he was like, "Man, I got out the streets to do this." That was him saying it, crying. I felt that. I'm like, I gotta highlight this man in some way. So prayers to you. And
Hopefully, we can get donations to him to fix his truck again because he had a great and his gumbo truck was great. The food was great. He had pleasant service. He didn't hold you long.
And the community supported
Yeah,
him.
and the community support him. So hopefully, we as a community can still support him and build him up. Because coming off the streets to really take 14 months to build a truck and to make gumbo, that is not an easy dish
especially
to make.
the gumbo. Hey, check that
Right.
out. Look,
a good gumbo.
Yeah, I've got to the point where twice I've passed the test in my family. I told you about. I usually tell the office about my little missions when it comes to come to food, and gumbo is something that I've been working on. The 2 times I've done it, it came out great. My family don't play around when it comes to food. They funny
Right.
about it. So my granny, if she ain't eating it, it ain't what it is. And even my auntie, she honest. My uncle called me and told me it was legit. So yeah, you gotta take time with gumbo. Gumbo take me like 5 or 6 hours or more to get it going.
It
So
do.
yeah. So props to him. I know he has a strong
And it's
return.
expensive too.
It is. We spent a lot of money on that gumbo.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna bounce back even stronger. People seeing something like that happen to a guy that you said that's creating, great energy in the community, feeding nutrients to the community. Who wouldn't want to support that? So, I'm sure we'll find out. And if it's any way that Wisconsin Voices can assist in, getting something going, I know we will. I know, Toya, you got connections. You know everybody when it comes to partnership games. So I'm sure somebody know who he is. Before we get to the interview with boy right here, B, Mr. Brandon Triggs, I want to just go over the celebrating Black excellence. And today we chose somebody, and the reason why I went through and revamped, and I'll just hold the other people because me and Latoya was talking last night. Great teammates. They work together even after hours. And she called me last night. I was just relaxing at home. I decided to revamp and go from somebody that's currently doing big things, and I chose to just go with somebody that I think in the scientific world and in the Black community. If you don't know this guy, you should just know a little bit about him. But today we're gonna do Neil deGrasse Tyson. So in honor of Black History Month, we're gonna shine a spotlight on the brilliant astrophysicist, cosmologist, and science communicator Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was born October 5th, 1958 in New York City. Tyson's passion for the cosmos was ignited at a young age. Despite facing adversity, he pursued his love for science, eventually earning a bachelor's of arts in physics from Harvard University and a PhD in astrophysics from Columbia University. Dr. Tyson's groundbreaking work in astrophysics has not only expanded our understanding of the universe, but has also inspired countless individuals, particularly within the Black community, to pursue careers in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He has served as a director of Hayden Planetarium and has been a prominent figure in science communication, making complex scientific concepts accessible to the public through books, television programs like Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey, and his podcast, Star Talk Radio. Beyond his academic and professional achievements, Dr. Tyson has been a vocal advocate for diversity and inclusion in the scientific community, emphasizing the importance of representation and equal access to opportunities for all aspiring scientists, regardless of background. Join us as we celebrate the remarkable contributions of Neil deGrasse Tyson, a trailblazer in the field of astrophysics and a true inspiration for the generations to come. So as you see, and if you don't know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is, type him in on Facebook. This man has some of the most fascinating, man, the facts and the things that you can learn from this guy from just watching the clip. You'd be like, yeah, we ain't really too much in the galaxy.
Makes you feel really small.
Yeah, I know even if you knew some things prior to that, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, we on a real low end the spectrum with this, and
20 encyclopedia.
yeah, for real. So I just wanted to highlight him.
Said it best, Brandon.
2020 encyclopedia.
For real.
I gotta bring my boy Brandon in, man. It's about that time. Bring you in, Brandon. Just want to get this guy in. We've been working with Brandon and Keon through Wisconsin Voices since I've been really. What would you say now, Latoya?
Brandon was around before you even got hired.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I figured.
UGHI introduced me to you guys with some canvassing work. Over a year ago.
Okay.
A year and a half ago or so.
Nice.
Maybe 2.
So we gotta do the real part now. We gotta have Brandon introduce himself, tell him who he is, who you are to Milwaukee again, if they don't know, and share some of your.
My name is Brandon Triggs.
Come back from break.
Just been in the community working for a while. Keon Jackson Malone got me into this work. He told me I kind of been doing the work in the community already, so he kind of took us under his wing, and here we are. We done made relationships with a few different organizations, Wisconsin Voices being one of the most prominent ones. just because they always show up for us. They always looking out for us. They always willing to lend a helping hand. They get out there and do the groundwork with us, help us pass out food, load up trucks, everything. So, man, I love these people up here, man. They gave us a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And y'all get a community a great opportunity.
I'm gonna make a correction on that when we come back from the break, because see, he lied. I appreciate the lie, but I'm gonna give you a little history. So
I love to hear it. I want to hear it.
God put it together, and I didn't even realize what God was putting together. So yeah. It goes beyond me and Brandon. It's Atkinson, baby.
All right. So when we get back, we gotta learn some of that history. You on Be a Voice Radio with WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Be right back.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
Brian Stevenson, born November 14, 1959 in Milton, Delaware, is a leading American lawyer and social justice activist. He founded the Equal Justice Initiative in 1989 to address systemic racism in the criminal justice system, particularly in defending marginalized individuals, including those on death row. Stevenson's work with EJI has led to the overturning of wrongful convictions and relief for countless unjustly sentenced individuals. He's received numerous awards, including the MacArthur Fellowship in 1995, and authored the best-selling memoir, Just Mercy. Stevenson's steadfast advocacy for racial equality and social justice makes him an influential figure during Black History Month and beyond. Wisconsin Voices' 3 pillars: protecting democracy, teaching advocacy, building community.
You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
You are now listening to Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice Radio.
Welcome back, folks. You are on WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM, Be a Voice Radio. Call in if you are interested in tapping in with Be a Voice Radio, 414-444-5250. Real quick, Latoya, what was we talking about last night? What we got going on is what is that? Is that Thursday?
Yes, this Thursday we have
quick.
Black Advocacy Day at the Capitol. So we're asking everybody to come out. As many people as that can, please come out, because we have a great day of touring the our Capitol in Madison. We're teaching people how to lobby their legislators and let them know of issues they feel are important in their community. And we also have a reception at the governor's house. So we had a hood at the governor's house. We be kicking it.
That was my first time in the governor's house when we went last year.
Yeah, and it's gonna be warm, so it's gonna be beautiful out there. I'm gonna be in that
Governor's Mansion.
backyard. I like that backyard back there.
You'll
off
see
the
the
lake.
entire Wisconsin Voices staff there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll all be there.
everybody but Tamika.
Well, except
Tamika's
Tamika.
in
Yeah.
Miami.
Gotta give a shout out
But
to Tamika.
everybody else will be there. Tim, Nicole, Brian, Joe, Angelique, all of us will be there. I believe Angelique is going to. I'm not sure. But yes, it's a great day. You actually we did it before. I always shout out to Mr. Jackson coming in.
Slide.
But
What's going on, my brother?
that's a good event. It really is.
Yeah, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
So later on that evening, I will be up at Black Advocacy Day during the morning. But that evening at 5:00 at there's another intergenerational transformative conversation circle going on. We had this a couple months ago at Claiborne's Place, the Black Historical Society, sponsored by Safe and Sound and Westcare, Wisconsin,
Okay.
amongst other partners. It was a great turnout. We're guaranteed to have more tables. I know, hosted by yours truly, facilitated by yours truly, Keon Jackson Malone. About 60 folks last time, and it was amazing.
Okay.
Great turnout, great conversations, a lot of great positive murmur, a lot of conversation, a lot of participation. So this Thursday at Claiborne's Place, that's 26th and Center Street, the Wisconsin Black Historical Society, 5 p.m. So if you're in Madison, want to come back and get into that, come on down. If you can't make it to Madison, come on and have some intergenerational transfer.
Yes.
At Claiborne's Place.
Sounds like a winner.
Amen. Amen.
All right, so get back into that. Getting to know Mr. Brandon Triggs over here. What you got going on, Brandon? And what's this story that you and Keon was about to get into that I really want to hear about? Keon said he got a little more info into how this relationship cultivated. I would love to hear about it.
I can only tell you from where I jumped into it at in the middle when it was already going. So what he had going on before that, I couldn't tell you.
And for him, that is it, because I hadn't even paid attention to the past that we had until one day Brandon was like, man, you remember I was at your house when I was about 15. We're about 15, 16? Your
Somewhere
cousin
back there.
He said, man, my cousin Darvin had brought me over your house. So he had a cousin named Darvin Triggs, who when I got into community work the very first time, 2010, 2011, when I had stepped into the first neighborhood block club meetings that I was going to. The first time I met Rosa Cameron, there go your chairman right there. And I would go to these meetings, and they were having them at a church up on 10th, and they were talking about this the liquor store on 11th and that apartment building, and some chaos and confusion. And his cousin Darvin and I used to.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
That was my uncle, my dad, youngest brother, but really that's like my big brother, man.
Okay,
the only
your
big brother I ever had for real. I was with him from day one on up.
So he's your uncle.
Yeah.
So Uncle Darvin. So Darvin and I used to, at the end of the day, we had these conversations, the first of the man conversations for me. He was talking to me about things like LLCs and nonprofits, and we just be building. So I told him about these meetings. You know how it is. Sometimes I tell a lot of these cats in the neighborhood, go to these block club meetings, because, it's not that, so-and-so is telling on you, the neighborhood is talking. And you need to be present, not to put fear in nobody, but to understand what it is. I said, man, the thing is the chaos that's going on around the apartment building, and these are people that's coming in to manage the apartment building. They don't know nothing about the neighborhood. And, so there's a lot of complaints about just activity and whatnot. Tell folks, pick up the garbage, do this and that. I didn't know. The next meeting, somebody said, I know who's been talking to folks in the neighborhood. And I was like, who? Yeah, you're so humble. They just got a great report from the apartment building. And it wasn't me, it was Darvin. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Who took action, his uncle, because that was the block. Darvin had a basketball thing he was doing. We were talking to the church about building because he was doing things in the park.
It was HKBT what he was doing.
There we go.
My dad started that a while back.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah.
So Darvin was talking about there was a shooting over there where it had nothing to do with the neighborhood. It was some guys that rode through looking for somebody else. And mistake somebody's identity, and a guy had got shot that had just moved here from Mississippi, and he was the caretaker of his siblings. And one of my guys, Albert, happened to be he had a child in front of him teaching him how to dribble. And he said he just happened to have spun that child out from in front of him, and he felt something hot in his stomach where that child's head has just been.
Oh man!
So they were like, "We're not going back in the park." The guy had got killed, Albert had got shot. So Darvin was talking to me about asking the church about a gym. The church had just been gym, Faithful Mission, up on 10th and Keith, and it was an all-purpose building, multi-purpose building.
Yeah.
And I talked to the pastor at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, we can. If it's for the children," he was like, "Not adults, but the kids. We'll talk about putting a basketball court in here. That's very much so a possibility." So we had that going on, but unfortunately, Darvin left us not long after that. So as the time went on, with the Village Group being formed that was in 2011 or 12 or something like that.
Okay,
So 2017, when I get into the work and get into community real heavy, we start the Village Group, and a woman, Diane Straughter, rest her soul, she passed away in December of 23 last year. She had she had a stroke in August, and she was a no call, no show. But this was the woman in 2017 that started helping me with my first event. And then she, over the winter of that year, she had met some kids that wanted a basketball camp.
Okay.
So I said, I'll see what I can do. I know some of the neighborhood coaches, and I really was close with Terrence Griffin.
Okay.
And that first year, Terrence said, "Yeah, we could do something." I called Brandon and so and so and so and so. So that first year, we put together a basketball camp and got Heart Love Place to give us meals, and we just programmed Atkinson Park. And they were Brandon and HKBT were actually I got it right, didn't I? After all these years.
He corrected me a little bit earlier.
I used to the letters would be so HBKT. He'd be like, "It's HKBT." So we programmed that first summer. The second summer we programmed. It got kind of hectic out there with the volunteers. But Diane Straughter was my A1 day when we started the pantry. We get it now. She kept everybody in line.
Yeah.
And then the next year things went kind of haywire. So the next time around, some folks didn't want to really participate, because you know how it is when people that don't know find information that they don't really understand, like with grants and stuff, and how you got to operate. So, Keon done spent $800,000, and I'm still dressed like them. And I done spent $1 million, and he got all the money. So I asked Brandon, the next year if he would participate, and he said he would. And the rest has been history ever since. I didn't know his character like that, because I was really working through Terrence. But then he came to me one day and brought up Darvin and come into my house. And I was like, whoa, so this was in the making 10 years ago, And
that's what it was for. It was for HKBT, that gym that we still out there looking for now. And like when you and Terrence clashed, I had to mediate that situation and kind of step in and take over. And like you said, it was so much drama going on in the park, people getting shot left and right over there all the time. And now with us having that camp and just occupying that space every morning in the summer, people respect the kids' space. They be out of respect for y'all and the kids, we gonna take that over here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that first year, 2018, it took a lot to get that park activated, because the county didn't want to activate it because of what he's talking about through the 90s. They tore down the buildings and they deactivated that park.
How many people I know got shot in
that park had gotten deactivated.
Boy, rest his soul, but he got paralyzed in that park.
Mhm.
So I know plenty of people.
And even more so before we
look how y'all got it. So I gotta say that. Look how y'all got it now. It's a peaceful place. Back in the days in the 90s, I wouldn't have dared wanted to come to
Man, what?
I would have been like,
man, look,
I would have been like, oh no, Atkinson Park, no.
as Brandon know, because he know a lot of the same people from the area, just because we just seeing how it connect as well. One of my best friends, and Dante, he's across, and his family is right there. And another guy I used to hang out with named Pat. He was on 16th, and then my aunt Barbara, y'all might not even know my aunt. My aunt Barbara, I keep forgetting. Forgive me, I gotta go see my great aunt. That's my granddad, George Sanders. His little baby sister. She stayed right around the corner on 15th, and I need to go see her on days when we do the pantry. But you see how everybody just the mix and the correlation. Together. Even when I was in high school, I wouldn't have pulled up at Atkinson Park, and that was 01 through 05. So
y'all can even see at the pantry sometime, like how how some of us in the neighborhood just bicker and go at each other. Just the family
know each other.
environment.
Yeah.
It's really fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Brandon, listen, Brandon had to go off one time, and I was like, dude, he was like, man, that's my auntie. I'm tired. You know, but let me tell you something. There was a situation where, you know, people put in their heart and soul, and they got this thing called passion pimping that I definitely don't do. So I had to find a way to get my, you know, without having funds, to get my brothers them some type of funding so that they could.
Passion. Yeah.
Poverty pimping?
No, passion pimping is when you find out people like to do something, and you give them the very minimum because you know they like it, and they want to do it. But you know, it was a point
tease
where,
you a little bit with.
yeah. So these brothers, I needed these brothers
I like that.
like compassion pimping. You know somebody love it, so you can lowball them because they want to do it, and they're not gonna stop.
Okay,
You know. So I knew
get
my
a lot of
brother.
that
My
out
brothers wanted to play basketball, and they wanted to teach the kids, but it was the financial thing. So lucky enough, thanks to God, I had the connections in the community and with the city and with OVP with the new projects that were going on. And this goes back to the beginning story of how we even got in the park. So I was able to connect Brandon and with OVP. Was that last year with the Promise Keepers?
You connected us with UGHI first. Honestly,
yes, but
that came out of that.
Yeah, they were your
fiduciaries. They
fiduciaries.
came out right.
So to be who they are in the community, because they already had the influence, kind of like the branch off from 414 Life, the Credible Messenger program.
Okay.
Those who come from atmospheres that are changing their life and making a change, that have the influence still. You know, people look at you. A lot of people want to escape what they're going through, but you know, peer pressure is for real, and atmospheric pressure is even deeper. You know what I'm saying? So for Brandon them to be who they were, and Terrence them to be so intellectually astute and into politics. Terrence, when you talk to Terrence, oh my God, you would never. He need to run for some office soon, you know. But they became part of that program, and because they were the truth, they were on the block. They weren't just coming into a program and trying to do something. They knew the folks that were going through stuff. I got rave reports. You know, not only that, their basketball camp over the years, I was getting calls from folks in city government like, dude, people are coming off the freeway going to work, and they see kids up at 8 o'clock in the morning at Atkinson Park.
Right.
Dude, that's a big thing, bigger than you know. That's Atkinson Park.
Right.
But that all started, I got to give props to my man then that probably don't want to be named, but I'm going to do it. You know, my cousin Anton Carter, you know, they call him Black or Benny. One of the last, you know, wild childs, we ran together in that certain phase of my life, and he left me in the car wild to go get some degrees, you know, but he was still that dude. And he's actually the person that changed my mindset about the way we was handling things. I was already 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you know, but I went into radio and made some changes behind the depression, and he went to go get a couple degrees. But he was a major influence and still is a major influence in that neighborhood. What you say, you don't see the bosses until something can go wrong. And when you see them, you get out the way. Well, one day he rolled up in the beginning of my career in radio, about 2016. He said, man, you know, it's a generational beef out here in this neighborhood, in this community that's been spanning for decades, and it's time to stop.
Yeah.
He said, cuz you can do it. Because I'm starting to understand without even knowing, I always had relationships with folks. You know, I was always I'll go with you. You know, I'm one the tough guy, but I get tough with you. You know, I'm going to protect my people, and we're not going to do this. And my cousin is the same. He want to talk you out of it, but if he can't talk you out of it, well, here we go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there was these family beefs that, you know, went on for like 30 years.
Like black by black type of beefs.
Well, family names. And if you're from the
names.
area, you know these families.
Right.
You know those families. And he was part of the low end. And it was a lot of stuff where kids grew up together, but when they turned a certain age, they fell into this beef. Because you're this family and you that family.
Right.
And they even said, man, we used to play basketball together, but now we can't be friends because this is my last name and that's his last name. How Fields and McCoy's. So the first thing I really ever did and thank God for
block away from each other.
Block away from each other. Yeah.
I told you I grew up over there.
Let me, since you said it, let me say that. That was the family. That was the family I went and talked to, and did not realize how tight my family was with that family, the Malones and the Sloans, and you know some other families there. And we met at the building we were working in. Some of the elders from all those, the Office of Violence Prevention. And we had some conversations about what I was trying to do in the park. And they were trying to bring this reunion back that they had been having, but there was still that stuff, which hopefully we get to bring it back
this summer.
Back
to Lincoln.
Because they haven't it needs not to be at Lincoln. It needs to be back to Atkinson. But they wouldn't even give them permits back then. So to be able to do it now would be historic because it needs to come home. And they've been having this reunion for 25, 30 years. So this is how old these elders are. So the park stuff, helping kids better themselves, and the work the Village Group does is village for real. You know, these are people that my dad and my mother and them went to school with, you know, La Follette, Parkman, Rufus King. So it's really bigger than that. And it took a lot just to get us there. It wasn't just about programming the park.
Right. It is. It been stuff going down where it been like people shooting at each other, and it'd be like, oh man, I had to call Keon or Keon to call me, and we, oh man, that's what's the name? Man, let me call his dad.
That's his son. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, we all at the park kicking it, whatever. They together and everything that was yesterday.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And that's what the park work does.
I even seen that when we a couple of months ago when the man was shooting, and you would have think that people got to running. No, Keon got to walking towards him like, man, what the hell wrong with you?
I was heated. And he drove off slowly with the left turn, looking at me. I was like, you.
Hey, wasn't that one day at the pantry you said?
I was pissed because it was 12 noon, and he just went to firing off shots while we were setting up tables.
Yeah,
and I'm like, come on, man, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I think I just missed it.
Because we're gonna end up knowing everybody at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the authority God gives you. Because I tell a lot of cats, man, I'm touchable, but you don't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah,
I already know where I'm gonna be buried. At the end is my father, my mother, my two sisters, and me. We bought those plots in '94.
Hey, I got a crib.
So my whole thing is, you know, we don't have to do this. You know what? You know, I feed too many people. I love too many people. Too many people love, and people love you.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend that got killed there over there some years ago, an elder, and you know his best friend's son was the one that did it. You know, somebody he grew up with over some dumb stuff, and it just kind of shook the neighborhood because once again, that is our village.
Just that's how my uncle Darvin, the one I told you I was so influential with HKBT, his friend, my uncle killed him. Just brothers fighting
accidentally.
Yeah, so I say brothers fighting. You know, they always quarreling. You know, and it just happened that he hit him right here, and he fell and hit his head on the concrete.
Wow,
man,
gotcha.
I do just want to, while we talking about just overall y'all two, and again,
we want to bring like in Mr. Sylvester too.
Yeah, let me thank y'all for that award, man. Y'all gave, you know,
yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah, last gala, man. We really appreciate that. Y'all surprised me with that.
We appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
that really award is nothing.
Now that award touched me so much because I didn't see him walking up to me. And he was so excited that I wanted to cry. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you know what? You know where that come from?
I ain't never won nothing outside of the quarter of the field in my life, though. So it was extra special to me.
That's what it is. It's recognizing the real heroes in our community. And that's what that really was about. Recognizing the real heroes in our community. The people that actually show up and showing up for their community. Not just in here on a nice little radio show, sound good and stuff. Y'all really, really do.
I'm sure Brandon remember when I said it. I was like, and excuse me for kind of cutting you out. So when I said when I got up there, I was maybe a little too relaxed, but I was kind of leaning on the podium a little bit, and I was like, look, we don't need you in here for photo ops. I wasn't even paying attention to that.
Us to slow down because you wasn't there yet. So
I didn't even know he was on his way. I thought, it was, in my head, Brandon was coming up and I was going with that. I look up, I'm like, oh, Keon here. But, just getting up there, like we saying, this ain't for photo ops. We barely take pictures at the with stuff that y'all do. And you should be, because people out here that's doing 20-minute events are taking 100 pictures and they ain't putting in the work. So, I mean, to the point where grab somebody,
I ain't never see no cameras, dog.
Man, sometimes it be me.
I never see a camera. I never see neither, and none of y'all trying to get a photo op or nothing.
No, because in the streets we had him go on, put that camera.
Right, you already know. Right, you already know how it be. What you doing with that? It's kind of hard to avoid now.
Hey, you can't have that camera on.
I still got that though. I still kind of just be out of the way. And still kind of got that.
You got awards now.
I'm prone to it now. I gotta get a picture.
I know y'all gotta get the Sylvester. But I do want to say, from the first one, I received some certificates and awards I didn't even recognize until I took everything to my mother's house. You know, when I cleared everything up, I was like, whoa, I really been out here doing this when I was still getting messed up and half depressed. You know, them little certificates they give you, Northwest Side CDC. Where the office that you are in now, Graceland Wilson was the first person to give me a Changemaker award, and I didn't recognize it until 5-6 years later when I looked at it. But I've received.
You see awards. How that truck flying? I told you these trucks be flying.
I've received awards and wondered for what, because to me, I'm like, I haven't done anything. But I started to realize that doing something is for real. because people aren't really doing anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like, y'all always support me. Definitely Tamika, whether it's personal or organizational. So I was like, they doing this, man. But boy, I tell you, when I saw his eyes in the dark, it made me understood. I gave him access to something and people access to him, and it meant so much to him that I just got shocked. I didn't know what to say. I was gonna walk up and be like, "Thank you, good night," like Russell Simmons.
Yeah.
But when I saw him and he grabbed me like I ain't never, I said, "Okay, that's what this is right here."
Right.
Yeah.
It's giving that credit where credit is due. That
It's
you know
bringing
these
tears to
people
my eyes
really
now,
out
man,
here
'cause I love
doing
y'all
that work.
for real, bro. Y'all
And we
always
love
supported
you,
us,
and
bro.
you are a beautiful,
deserve it, fam.
magnificent man in the community, Brandon.
Like,
You
people-
really are.
And his cats on
Like
the block.
you.
And
People
his
we have
cats.
asked for support, like
Rare.
almost had
Yeah.
to beg for support, and they still, halfway behind us when it benefit them.
Yeah.
And you know,
Oh,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
And it's-
These officers,
and you just know it's real from y'all, man. Y'all there when it benefit y'all, or when the light shining on us.
Yeah.
Y'all
no
still
doubt, man.
there 100%
For
down,
sure.
and we appreciate y'all, and I
Yeah.
love all of y'all for that, for real.
We
For
love
sure.
you
Love
Even
you
too,
too,
Sylvester,
man.
man. I met this man the first time. He extended his services to me and said, "Man, I'm gonna help you get some grants or whatever. Just come down and sit down with me."
Yeah.
And I ain't did it yet, but I'm coming.
let Sylvester get his time.
That's
man.
what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to say this one thing, Keon. I love being in this room full of men right here. Y'all are some real men.
Appreciate
Stand
that.
up for the hood,
Yeah.
all the way from the
Yep.
south side to the north side.
Yeah.
We stand up,
And I think
it's
yeah,
just
I
like
love
a
it.
real love.
And you know
like,
what it is,
yeah.
Tori? It's because, and even for me, I didn't grow up in Axis, but I told you I spent some time over there in, random parts of my teenage years and younger adults with my aunties and my friends and hanging out probably when I shouldn't have been at Lindbergh Park, stuff like that.
Lindbergh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my cousin going over there at Lindbergh Park, and shout out to his friends from over there. But, I grew up not too far. I mean, Hampton, I grew up on 19th Hampton, so I was on Atkinson all the time. Red Snapper. I stayed at KFC and Red Snapper with my granny going to the
Snapper,
man. That was the only Red Snapper I knew about growing up. So that's how I knew. That was my early years of Atkinson. So going to be over there.
Catfish nuggets.
Oh yeah, back then I knew that was my granny used to love them catfish fillets. So just going over there, being able to contribute on another end as an adult, it does mean a lot. So again, like I said, just much love and shout out to y'all and God bless y'all with everything y'all doing. And as long as we got the opportunities to work it, whether it's Wisconsin Voices or whoever we working with, we'll definitely be in support. As long as I'm here in the mill. So Mr. Jackson,
Sylvester.
we ain't forgot about you, man. You came in.
I'm a very patient man.
I love it.
Take that.
I do believe in being patient. We live in a world where everybody want to speed up, don't want to lay back. You
Yes,
know
sir.
what I'm saying? Your turn always gonna come. All you got to do is be patient.
Yes, sir.
But I'm just glad to have this moment with real peoples, because we know in our community the problem is we got too many fake peoples
Oh,
in these positions that claiming what they're not doing and being. We are the doers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We the ones boots on the ground. We the ones that is not afraid to go in the community. Everybody claims so dangerous. So I thank God for each and every one of us that's in here today, because it takes people like us to make the difference for tomorrow, for the generation that's coming. But I do want to drop some. My name's Sylvester Jackson.
Thank you. We was waiting for that.
I'm the co-founder of the Believers for Change. Me and my wife put that together in 21, and always hats off to Wisconsin Voices, who have given us support. You know what I'm saying? Unconditional support for us to push our agenda. And we can't thank them enough, because it's a lot of big organizations talking the talk, but very few walking the walk. But I do want to drop some knowledge down to the community going on around reentry. There is a Senate bill that is one vote away from passing, and it's for the bill is for when you having your record expunged. This bill been fought for 5 years right now by Gorky. I think Evan Gorky, and he's getting ready to step down. So this would be a beautiful gift for him to walk away with, because he put so much into this bill. This bill would allow people to get their they record expunged. And then, it makes a difference when you're applying for job, when you're trying to soar to another level, and you don't have that stain on your record. So this bill is one vote from the Republican side to pass. And we're asking everyone to call Senator Rob Hutton. Senator Rob Hutton. Because he's the most likely one that will move, across the aisle to make this bill possible. Again, the bill number is SB 38, Senate Bill 38. It's an expungement bill that is very critical, especially to the Black community.
All right.
Because we know most people that this reentry effect is Black in our community. So we want to push our people to call Senator Hutton, Rob Hutton, and ask him to please support this bill, and let's get it passed so people can get a second chance to move on into, wherever God inspired them to move on in life. So that's all I really wanted to drop down, because that's important in our community. I'm part of the reentry community. People coming home from prison after doing time, we should have a right to have a better life as well if we out here putting in the work to change. So let's remember this. Senator Rob Hutton, Bill SB 38. Call Senator Rob Hutton and ask him to please support this bill, and let's get that expungement bill done. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's really, I have to tell y'all, that's something really important at that SB 38. I'll say this quick little story of what he's talking about. My husband had he went to prison. God rest his soul. He's in heaven now, but he went to prison. And when he first got arrested, he got the armed and danger from shooting at the police.
Okay.
So he'd been out of prison good 20 years. We went to Madison and he had a child support warrant. Do you know they came? I was driving and he was on the passenger side. Do you know they came up to that car with all kind of guns on us? And because his record wasn't expunged. So even 30 years later, they still had the armed and dangerous on there. So how they had to approach that car is they had to have guns in my face just for a child support warrant. So that really is important. That would really save a lot of lives and help them get to the next level.
I agree. I'm working in Mr. Jackson, if he's comfortable with me just kind of sharing how we met. Mr. Jackson met when I was working for a food share employment training program, and I'm sorry for not recognizing you at first. There's so many people you work with. And I do once everything when he started mentioning, I do remember at the end we used to have to do certificates and for people coming through the workshop, and I do remember just like that whole being with him. And I do remember him once I sat down and really thought about it, because that's the only way that I can remember a lot of the people I had come. And you were focused. I remember that. You weren't playing no games. You was on everything when it came to getting resumes updated, the interview stuff. You remember I used to do little mock panels, and I tried to create a real balanced environment, just kind of how I do anytime I have control of workshops, because you got people coming from so many backgrounds, and one of the big things I dealt with was people coming back and they had offenses, whatever it was. It's time for these guys came through and we had more grind and hustle than the people that was been out here with no time. Just been out here creating havoc and just creating all these ugly situations for themselves and Milwaukee. And you got guys coming out who are ready to change the city and can't get the chance to change the city because they got something lingering over them. But I've met a white counterpart at a bar, and this guy get out and he told me, and this was back before I even got into the FSET program, he was like, man, I just got out and I'm starting at this job and they're paying me almost $70,000 a year. I'm like, when you get out? He had just got an armed robbery and everything. So it's just showing you how serious it is. And, let's not say it's not always black and white, because it definitely is black and white when it comes to that. And even for this brother getting out and doing the things he's doing and elevating, and we connecting back on this path again, that's God, man.
Then we reconnected with the other young lady that was over there yesterday.
And Miranda, Miranda Gates. I want to also give her some recognition as well, who was my co-facilitator at the organization. We did the training and workshops together. Amazing woman, and she has a lot of great things going on, and she put on this, but she even said yesterday, she's like, wow, I remember him and his energy and the charismatic. So I just
Well,
want to
you
give
know,
some
when
love
I
about
come
that.
out of prison, I had one track mind to succeed, you know, because I knew all the odds was against me.
Yeah.
Because when you're released from prison after 10 years with no resources, no family, no finance, and you homeless, they want you to come back.
Yeah.
I was determined not to come back. I was determined to face whatever obstacles I had and overcome them, because I knew I was walking not by myself, but I was walking with Christ. And that was really my motivation, man, because I knew if God was for me, it didn't matter who was against me.
Yeah.
And so when I came out and I met you, I even got the certificate with your signature on it where you signed it.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed everyone that God put in my path to help me succeed to get to where I am. And that's why you never forget the road you travel on, because so many people that you pass, God put in that place for a particular reason, for a particular season. And I take advantage of each one, because you never know where it takes you to. So, man, I'm appreciative, you know, to be in this space, because it's all due to God, not me. I give God all the glory, man, because listen, so many come out and fail because they don't think they can do something. And God tell you, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. So to God be the glory on that one, bro.
Amen.
For real.
We both in new spaces. Come and think about it. I done slid over to some new spaces myself since then. So I do want to thank God as well for giving me the opportunity to work with all these lovely people. This work and working with Wisconsin Voices has given me the opportunity sitting in and understanding the game from Latoya, you know, meeting with the organizations and going and doing the groundwork with them and seeing them in action and hopping on their committees. And it's something that I really appreciate. It's fulfilling, you know. Yeah, I was always saying, it's the fulfilling. That's why I was loving
that you
working with
helping
individuals.
your community.
Yeah, exactly. Working with him like that, helping people get back to work at that time. You know, it felt so good getting people just the most basic interview advice, resumes, and then you seeing these people and they tapping you on your back in the mall, and they not saying, "Man, where my money at?" or "Why you over there looking at me crazy?" It's like, "Oh, Brian, I want you to meet my family. This is my wife. This is my kids. This the dude I was telling you about that helped me with the resume or stuff like that." So, and coming full circle at Wisconsin Voices and being able to still do that same work and still go out and, you know, get checked by Keon when I ain't lifting the boxes properly or something like that.
As long as you lifting them, Keon ain't got nothing to say. Work tonight.
Right. I didn't know how to use the jack the other day. And he was so smooth with it. I was like, yeah, see, I only did a few months at UPS and I got up out of there. I was like, yeah, I'm going another route with this. At 17, I knew, I was like, it's got to be another way to really get this money.
I got my 15 in
UPS had me loading trucks. It was like 30 feeders I was loading at UPS. I'm like, no, this ain't gonna be for me. I got to figure out. I went and did the car valets, and I just kept finding the quickest way to get to helping the people
other than lifting all that stuff.
And I landed with helping the people, and it's been a blessing. So yeah, thank y'all. Thank everybody in this room. Seriously.
And Sylvester, you got to talk about the quick few things real quick.
We got a minute. Let's a minute.
Advocacy Day Thursday. Please come out. Go to the Capitol with us. Enjoy your day as we celebrate the last day of Black History Month. And also, you're having nacho.
Well, we're gonna do the nacho next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. But we'll announce it. But it'll be next Friday.
Next Friday at the
it'll be at the office. You know, we do the nacho and different things to support the youth programs that we working with to help. You know, not just young people, but their families.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of families need help, not just the young people, but the parents too. So we're working to help both, because the family is what need to be brought together and the wound need to be healed and mended, because that's how they destroy our community, by dividing our family.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Slide. Thanks to the team coming in. Brandon, thanks for coming in as well. We appreciate you. I want to shout out my uncle real quick. Happy birthday to him as well down in South Carolina, Uncle Junior. And you are on 860 WNOV 106.5 with BA Voice, Wisconsin Voices. Have a great rest of your day.
WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not